Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. Now, I thought I'd do a quick little video while I'm sitting under my ascension chamber. As you can see there above me is a geometry called the Chestahedron. It's a seven-sided geometry, and the word seven is coming up quite a bit at the moment. And in regards to evolving into another plane of existence, which is called density 7, and this is a geometry that's relatively new that's come through, and the Chestahedron over the last few years, and that's something that we should take note of, because a lot of people are still using pyramids and using geometries that have been around for thousands and thousands of years, and usually things come up or need to be channeled through to humanity for a particular reason. And the recent events and the recent changes that we're currently going through, perhaps this geometry has some validity with the changes that we need to go through. So I use this as part of my ascension chamber. The vortexing nature, when you spin a chestahedron, turns into the geometry of a bell, so it creates levitational forces. So when you're sitting underneath it, it's creating the energy that's ascending your energy into a new or a higher plane of existence. Okay, it's making you feel more loving. And in fact, the geometry of the Chestahedron above me is the geometry that the heart sits within. The left ventricle of the heart sits within. So, what I'm getting a lot more in regards to my clearings at the moment was we need to be more heart-centered. Okay, we can be aware, conscious, and wise to a lot of information, to knowing why things the way they are, but it still comes to how we use that information. Not only for the benefit of humanity, but more importantly, the benefit for you. So you can be your true self. Okay, and when you're true self, then that whatever's being transformed within you then mirrors into your external environment. And then we can affect more people indirectly. But it all has to happen within ourselves, especially our heart. So this geometry is a vital one, and you'll see there's a tool called a beamer inside there too, which has anyone that's looked up Walter Russell in regards to noble gases, and these are certain elements in the periodic table of the elements that have got levitational or ascending capabilities, and we create that within this chamber as well, and it really boosts the whole energy up. And we've got a few other geometries that I have underneath the seat under this chair, so it's like a column effect. But saying that, this field encompasses my entire home, or my entire house as well, but it's obviously a lot stronger when you sit underneath it. So I thought I'd do the video with me sitting underneath it, and we're just going to talk about a few things. And it's essentially, the topic of this video is, are you surrendering to the flow of life? Okay, and we see this whole thing about flow in a number of manners. If we look at the physical body, a lot of our things within our physical body rely on flow, right? The bloodstream, right? Cardiovascular system. If we have obstruction or blockage, we can get in real big trouble. Clots and so on, and myocardial infarction, a heart attack. Same with the lymph system. If it's clogged, and we can really accumulate a lot of infection, a lot of toxic material that can make us sick. Same with the digestive system. So even at that level, which manifests from its origin, and that's from the energy, from a quantum level, is that, and that is directly connected to whether we're going with the flow of life or we're resisting it. And what I've come to find is that if we're very mind-orientated, very analytical, a lot of the times we get tired a lot faster. Do you know why? Because we're resisting the flow of our energy. We're resisting the flow of life. But we're more heart-centered, and we live more in the now and live in the present moment. We go with the wave, right? We go with the flow of the energy, flow of life. And a lot of the things that are blocking ourselves, we quite often blame it on the things that are out there, out in the external world or other people, but we don't create enough of an emphasis on our own mind. And maybe our mind is what's blocking us and getting in the way of things. So I've got a few notes written right down here for me to talk about, but For example, if we're becoming more aware of the things of why things the way they are in life and the game of life and trying to figure it out, right? Chemtrails, why we have vaccines, why things are the way they are is we can get that wisdom, but we can still be very mind orientated with how we use that information and what we're trying to do with it. And I wanted to talk about that in this video. For example, if we are looking, we could be looking for information to fit our own agendas. Okay, so from preconceived ideas, and we're fixated on a particular topic or something that we feel or maybe think is going on. And sometimes, the validation of why we think it perhaps is that way is those things start to creep into your life, right? And what you see and what you feel. And we must also understand that we are creators, okay? And quite often, wherever our focus gravitates to or ascends to, then our energy goes to that and we can create it. Okay, we can, the way we use our intent, we can create something. Even it's something that we don't want in our life. So we need to be very aware where we place our focus, how we use our intent, and if our focus has been gravitated by the mind, and why I use gravitate, because it lowers our vibration, to fit the agenda of preconceived ideas, because preconceived ideas is not being in the now or being present, is it? So therefore, anything that's nothing to do with being in the now or being in the present moment is being controlled by the mind. Okay, and we can get into problems where we create the things that we think are a problem. Okay, they may be there, but also what I keep getting told is right at this moment in time, there are people out there that are saying, hey, all these things that have controlled us for such a long time are going away. And some people are seeing that and some people aren't. Some people still see the fact we're being controlled to such an extreme level, but perhaps if we're being mind orientated and trying to again fit our own agenda and what we think is going on, maybe we're creating it. Maybe the world the way it is currently is because we're creating that to be that way. Okay, maybe it's not about the external world molding us, which we call mind control from the external influences. Maybe it's our own mind that is creating the mind control. Okay, so really the true reality is that we're all individuals, okay, and you can mold your perception on doing the work within, and therefore that will mirror out in the external reality. If your focuses are not on the negative things, well, funnily enough, you'll find that when you go through your day, you won't find those negative things manifest in your perception of reality. You're not creating them, right? So instead of trying to fit or trying to look for information to fit your own agendas or preconceived ideas, because sometimes we can look for things out there too much. Okay, and we can get lost, and I see that. There's a lot of conflicting views and people get confused. There's just too much information. Perhaps the information is within you already. Okay, and this is where intuition comes in, and being heart-centered and listening to the body. True communication, that's what I call it. So instead of maybe looking for that information out there to fit an agenda or a preconceived idea that you have, maybe you just need to run with what's flowing and coming to you in the now. Let it come to you. Okay? Be present, be in the moment. Because if you're present and being in the moment, all of a sudden that channel of intuition that comes through the heart is open. Okay, you'll notice your intuition capabilities heighten just naturally by doing that. And it will give you the information that you need. Okay? And let it come to you. Okay? Then all of a sudden, conflict. You're not conflicted. You're not confused from what one person's trying to tell you and another. obviously you want to connect to what resonates with you, which is, again, a sense, and it's a sense, it's a feeling thing, which is always connected with the heart. Anything about thinking or being analytical, it's the mind. And we get into trouble a lot of the times. It lowers or gravitates our vibration, and we need things to levitate, right? Levitate our vibration. Okay, so that's my advice is to try and stay in the moment, in the now. You'll get all the guidance you will ever wish for. You'll be in the heart space, and you'll directly feel a pull to an outside influence or a video or an article that resonates with you. You don't need to search for it. It will come to you. Okay? And then all of a sudden you can use your creation capabilities in the way that doesn't sabotage you anymore. It creates the reality that you've always wanted to. Okay? And it all comes through your own eyes. And that's the thing. Yeah, we think that we're on a planet with a whole lot of billions of people, and that we're all playing the same game. We're not playing the same game. We're playing our own game through our own eyes, through our own perception of reality. I can't see through anybody else's eyes. I can only see through mine. That depends on the consciousness and the level of consciousness that is controlling this interface, this vessel, my eyes, my physical form, and what we create within this reality, what manifests in this reality. And you've got the choice to be heart-centered, okay, to have more loving things in your life, the things that you love to do, more of that in your life, or allow the mind to create the things that you don't want in your life, okay, and I see this a lot. So please realize that the external world is not molding you. You have the ability to mold the external, and it all happens within this interface on an individual level, and it all starts with you. Okay, it all starts with you, and I don't really like to say it ends with you, but it kind of does, because there's no ending. Okay, we're infinite, and the thing about the mind is mind creates limitations. The whole idea of duality is a mind thing, and we are ascending to new levels now. This chamber enables you to ascend to a field of neutrality, okay, where it's not mind-orientated anymore, it's heart-centered, okay? And what happens with duality? Naturally, conflict. And what happens in conflict? Fear. Okay, and that's all mind. That's not heart. Everything to do with heart is love. It's nothing to do with fear. That's nothing to do with conflict, and it's nothing to do with duality. So that's where we're going now. And I hope a whole lot of you want to go on this journey with me, because I tell you, it's an individual journey. It's a choice that you have to make. And please have awareness about it, because I do see a lot of people out there that are saying they're aware, they're conscious, that they've got all these ideas, but you're using your mind. You're not using your heart with that information, okay? And a lot of the problems that you think you have in your life, you could be creating them with your own mind. So have awareness of that, okay? And sit in the heart space. It all happens in the heart. That's where everything originates. You're incarnated through the heart, okay? That's why we call this the birth to ascension gateway that sits behind the physical heart. That's why the heart is a beating organ. It has this sinus rhythm, because that's a physical manifestation of that vibration, that vortex, which is the geometry of flow, funnily enough. Wow, how about that? What a coincidence. That comes through the heart. We call that the birth to ascension gateway. And the birth end is this end, because you've been birthed into a physical or this interface into this reality, looking back at yourself as a human being. Really, at the core of you, you're not a human being. This is just the interface you're using. At the other end is ascension, your true self, your source self, not one source self, one creator. Your source self is an individual. And the only way you can get back to connecting with your true self and being at ease with yourself, not unease or dis-ease, at ease with yourself, is to go back within. But the only place you can go back within is through the heart. Anyway, I hope you've really enjoyed this video. Until next time, bye.